What's going on? Welcome back to the Look Mum, I'm Hustling. Good day.
Ooh.
I'm going to throw a little good day in there today.
In case they don't know that we are Australian, for those out there listening to us right now.
We're hustling. You're hustling.
Yeah.
You've been hustling a lot today. You've just gone back to back from your main job to this job, and then you're going into your third side hustle, potentially a fourth side hustle straight after.
So many side hustles. Yeah, I literally got home from work like 10 minutes ago. But that actually reminds me of like an article I read this week about almost like the saying no to the hustle culture and like slowing things down. There seems to be a bit of a movement against the, doing everything all at once type thing, but it's more of the take moments for yourself and breathe once in a while.
So maybe we should call this episode, Look Mum, I'm slowing down.
Hey, just putting
the
pause.
brakes on.
Yeah, just putting the brakes on,
It's pretty exhausting. Like I'm on YouTube and Twitter a lot throughout the day when I'm doing my work, and it's like, it's even getting to me. Like I enjoy the hustle and I enjoy like learning about growing and, making bigger, more exciting things in life, or like growing your social media following or making more money. That's all well and good, but like, it's kind of exhausting. Like every second video you see, maybe it's just the algorithm that I'm stuck in, but every second post is like how to 100x your Twitter following or how to make $100,000 off your newsletter overnight. Like it's just like so overwhelming. And we're having this conversation the other day, like so much of the info that's coming out now is all from new up-and-comer type entrepreneurs like our age.
Yeah, very sort of like new, not new to the market, but they've only got like 30 years of life experience under their belt.
Yeah, 30 years of life experience and then 3 years of somewhat internet, I guess, success or notoriety. And then like we've been listening to a lot of like veterans in, like I've been listening to a bunch of actor podcasts, which we can touch on later as part of today's playlist segment, and listening to people that have been doing their craft or in their niche or realm for like decades and decades, and they've like really mastered what they're good at. And then you just see so many like new gurus. Like when we did an episode a few weeks ago about YouTube gurus, and there's just as many online for like TikTok or Twitter or newsletters or blogging. It's like everywhere you go, and like you do need people like that to give advice and to help you out, or to like put value and information out there if you're looking for it and seeking it. But when like every video or every post is just like how to just turn into an overnight monster, like it's very overwhelming to watch and like look at, especially when you're at this like stage one in your journey and you're like, oh, it's just also so overwhelming.
Yeah, it's almost like gets to that point of being like, oh, like there's so many people already out there like succeeding. I'm just not even going to try. I'm just not even going to bother to like do it because like, how am I ever going to get $1 million or 1 million followers or things like that? And they're just like you said, like everywhere you look, it's just like, I'm going to teach you how to be successful. And you're like, but I just want to like learn like a new craft or learn something new. Like I necessarily don't want to be successful, I guess, like notoriety or like monetary value or things like that. Like I just want to become good at something.
It's also like so many of the gurus is like how much credibility or social proof is behind them. Like there's like a bunch of people on Twitter that they're like YouTube thumbnail experts and they don't even like have like a YouTube page. Maybe they're coaching people behind the scenes or they've had previous success, but like you can't just like click one button and look at all their past history and all their evidence to support them being an expert in this thing. And then they're off selling courses and stuff, which is good for them. If they can make money off it, awesome. But it's like you said, like, where do you start? And it's also like, how could I even compete with these people? And especially if they're giving out a lot of this information, like how many people are taking up this information that I have to then compete with? And I mean, we've talked about resistance and like competition mindset in the past before as well. And it's almost just like just wiping the slate clean in a sense. That's kind of where I'm at now. I'm just like, I just can't take any more of it. I'm just going to like do my thing and stick to like what I feel true to myself and what I feel is like intuitive or makes sense for me in terms of what information I take on. There's just like so much information. So maybe just pace the hustle. Maybe just don't go guns blazing into it.
Too hard, too once. We say that though, but like literally going to be like after this episode, just going into like, because we've got this episode actually comes out tomorrow. So, you've got to edit it. I've got to do the timestamps. And then, I've got the other like eBay work to go on to. Then also want to be able to spend time like being creative and doing like my creative writing, which I'm in the process of doing at the moment. And yeah, just so many things. And it feels like so little time. But it's about, just taking those breathers and those moments and stuff and not letting that hustleness overwhelm because hustleness overwhelm because it can. Like it can so easily like create burnout and all that kind of stuff.
And that's why this pod is good. Like it gives us a chance just to like slow it down.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like chat through these things, like have conversations about our problems, what we're dealing with, and then obviously stuff that's in the news. But it's like a 30 minutes to an hour to slow things down and just like I guess just talks things out rather than just having 100 tabs open in your mind. This is cleaning the tabs out.
Yeah.
But speaking of eBay, which I will be working on later, have you seen like the eBay scandal this week?
I've seen a headline, but I literally know nothing about it.
So let's pull this up. This is some interesting information that's been highlighted by 60 Minutes in America about an eBay scandal. So I'll give a bit of a background on this story. Yeah. Now, everyone knows eBay, been around for like 20 years, one of the first e-commerce websites. Yeah. Everyone knows it. Not everyone uses it, but like everyone has used it at some point in the past.
I think it's like pretty much like a household name. Like a lot of people know what it is.
Of course.
Yeah.
There is a website called e-commerce. I'll bring that up real quick. I think it's called, e-commerce bytes. And it's essentially a blog. It says it has the news, information, resources for the online merchants. So it basically gives you any updates for Amazon sellers or eBay sellers, things going on in the market, new fee structures, and then all that kind of good stuff, like stuff that we like to. Well, I don't really look at it that frequently.
The layout's very like old school.
It's
eBay.
super old school, but it's just a blog with this is a news site for these e-commerce platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So the couple that run it are a couple called the Steiners. It's a husband and wife partnership. If you're listening to the podcast, give us a rating and review while you're in the app. Also, check us out on the video version on YouTube and Spotify as we speak. So we're just going to have some visuals here from this blog article. Ina and David Steiner, this couple, the husband does like the accounting and stuff, and then the wife does all the actual post and the research and stuff.
Gotcha.
Or the research, or the writing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they've been running it for about 20. Been working together for 20 years. As I just said, they have about 600,000 readers. It looks like it's a bit of a typo there. Is it either 60,000 or 600,000? Regardless, pretty substantial.
Yeah.
So there's a scandal that kicked off in August of 2019.
What? So like. Sorry to interrupt. Like, was it a scandal and it's still like ongoing?
No. So I'll get through to it. I mean, there's a whole clip, whole 60 minutes, 13-minute segment you can look into. I'll summarize it here.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they write about problems with eBay and stuff, any scams or like things that aren't in the seller, like an eBay seller's best interest, anything that's like going on behind the scenes, they'll report on. So essentially, they've been harassed and targeted by some eBay employees, and like the whole video on 60 Minutes is about trying to figure out who it was, or like if it was like people at eBay or just like rogue sort of people.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, this couple were like threatened and harassed via phone calls, in their mail and stuff. So someone, I'll get to who it was in a minute, sent them like a pig like mask from like the Saw movie in the mail.
Oh.
They're sending them mail saying how to survive a loss of a spouse. So
oh my
kind
gosh,
of like,
how brutal.
It's kind of like threatening like one of your partner's going to die. Like here's preparation for that. Next day they sent them a big wreath of flowers.
How horrifying.
And then they sent their neighbors. So this is a pretty like smart strategy.
Mm-hmm.
They sent one of their neighbors like pornographic material, but had it to this guy's name, but to the neighbors. So like the guy like had ordered it and put it to the wrong address on. So then like the neighbors get creeped out and everything.
Oh my gosh.
So like really like bizarre stuff. And I guess it all comes back to them running this blog, right? And exposing stuff behind the scenes.
Gotcha. So they were sort of like in the gritty and they were like probably just talking about stuff they shouldn't be, or...
Well, they should be. They're just reporters. We've talked about this in the past as well, like the freedom of press.
Gotcha.
Journalists being able to say what they need to say to expose things. But obviously someone at eBay somewhere didn't like it. And then at one point they were getting tailgated by a car. and the police tracked down the vehicle. It was a rental vehicle. They tracked down who rented it, and it ended up being an eBay employee. And yeah, the case just goes a bit deeper. There was text messages that were found out from some of the top guys at the very top. Like, I don't know if it was the actual CEO or someone on the C-suite, one of the top execs.
Yeah.
Were like messaging back and forth saying, you're going to take this couple down, take the blog down.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that went into court and everything. I don't know if it's been settled or where we're at with that.
Some like hectic espionage going on.
Here at the bottom of the article, it says 7 members of the safety and security unit of eBay pleaded guilty to stalking or cyber stalking charges.
Safety and security.
Yeah, Veronica Zia received a year of home detention and probation, while James Ball received a 5-year prison term. Just for basically just stalking and harassing.
Well, yeah, and they're like death threats and stuff as well. That's like full on.
Pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bit sad. Like, we do use eBay. I mean, this is it's not like the eBay, the entire company's behind this. It's a small handful of people have taken it upon themselves to do some stuff. But like, what would you expect them to do just by sending them a mask in the mail, or just like sending these weird gifts? Like, what do you, I mean, as if you're going to like take the blog down just from that? Like,
no, it's just like re-emphasizes the point to be like, I'm going to keep this running.
Yeah.
Like, we're obviously giving like real information and true information that people need. They're trying to hide this stuff. So of course you wouldn't want to take it down. Like, it's even just more motivation to keep it up and keep posting.
Exactly. So yeah, it's just a two people unit, like enterprise, little blog that's
Little
been
family
running.
unit.
And they're probably just making money off advertising on the side of the blog and everything.
Mm-hmm. And here
So
there's
it's
these
just-
big eBay people trying to take him down.
Well, yeah, how many millions of dollars do they make profit every year?
Oh,
And
so
then
much.
you can't, like, it's just concerning. Like, you hear about so many different companies, or like I watched a movie the other day on Netflix about the chemical industry and like how Teflon for like 30, 40 years was just poisoning
Oh, yeah, you
water
horrified me with this.
water supplies and everything like that. I think the movie's called Deep Water or Dark Water. And just like these huge industries that just have like such massive control and power can essentially just do what they want, just throw their weight around so easily. eBay, not so much. They're not like an entire industry that's intertwined with like politics and government. Like, you're about to yawn.
Sorry, I was holding it in.
Just let it go. Don't bother holding it in. But yeah, like, that's just like the chemistry industry. And and I watched a movie last night. I think it's called Spotlight, about the Catholic Church and all of the pedophiles, priests, and everything. How they get moved around, and like a 20-year investigation.
So bad.
Into like finding and exposing it all. But the thing is, they're all like so intertwined with government and politics. So it's just scary. Like, it's, this corruption's everywhere. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
We've done videos or podcasts about FIFA and the corruption and the scandals there. And it's like just when you get that big, like, there's just, you basically just want to control and have more power and more power and more power at the expense of anyone little, and everyone just gets trodden on, or, just in this case, like, harassed constantly.
Yeah, I know, and they're just like it's almost like a mom and pop shop, right? Like, just imagine
Just a
someone
little blog.
imagine like a Starbucks, like going to like the local like coffee shop and like threatening, being like, "We're going to take you down." That's essentially what it is.
Or if if they had a blog that was like exposing the treatment of the people that grow the coffee or something, like, it's the same kind of concept. And who knows, that stuff could happen.
Yeah. And you were talking about the other day as well, it was like too big to fail. Like, how big is too big? Like, if those kind of things happen, there has to be some point where it's like a big downfall.
Yeah. I mean, it's when the company like eBay is so big, there has to be a couple of people that were the main instigators, the main people that were involved, and they have to get thrown under the bus and get wiped out. And then
For the company.
for the company not to take a massive drop in like their share price or something. But one incident like that is not going to like plummet the share price. The stakeholders aren't going to just like sell off all their shares just from that.
No,
so
it's way too profitable.
It would take a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I'll be listing some stuff on eBay after this.
Yeah. Same, actually.
It's sad, but I mean, like, what can you do? You can support the couple that are getting harassed, and then hope that there's justice served to the people that were involved.
Yeah, but they got the justice is served.
Yeah.
Kind of, there's some people, some jail.
But where does it stop? They'll probably get harassed again, I'd imagine.
I hope not. It's just unfair.
Yeah.
People should be able to speak however they want to speak.
Amazon's like way bigger. They're not doing it. Well, they could be, but you don't hear about it.
No, well, they didn't fight against Amazon. Amazon are like, don't care. Do whatever.
There are too many things to worry about. Maybe it's like, it really just shows how threatened they were by such a blog.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to like being fearful of like being exposed or having some part of the business exposed and wanting to keep them quiet.
Well, if you're a company and you have these other companies, you say, because eBay was first, right? Then Amazon sort of came in, and now you have all these other platforms like ASOS or like Wish or like Alibaba and stuff. They're like kind of like taking away all that market share. So imagine just like one blog website like that. They're feeling, so threatened by that because like they don't have much left, or things get taken away, that they're threatening just a couple by sending like grief books and stuff. It's pretty full on.
It's just like subtle little gifts that are like, they're not direct threat, but if you read into it, you're just like,
it's a no-brainer.
Pretty sad.
No-brainer.
I got a couple of things to bring up. Do you have anything that's super interesting that you want to highlight today?
Off the top of my head, no, I'm just afraid that I'm going to have like another art thing again. So
there's no being a thread in the pod. It's just, it's chill times.
No, there was just this other one of just like where was it? Like a Jackson Pollock painting.
So you go straight to you.
I know, I went straight to the art
thing.
one.
Let me guess, Jackson Pollock painting destroyed. Like yours.
No, there's one discovered in a police raid, or Gucci and Bored Ape are teaming up for like a collab.
Okay.
Which is really interesting.
Is it?
Yeah. I thought it was like kind of interesting because like no one's really talking about NFTs and stuff at the moment, but now you've got like Gucci sort of like coming in. So I'm just wondering, like Bored Ape probably has quite a bit of money. Like how much did they, like what backhand deals kind of got into the market for this?
So it's a metaverse project by the looks of it. So it's not, I don't know. It's just those two of the pillar brands in terms of like the real bougie high upper end.
Yeah, because Bored Ape's like bougie of the NFTs, and then Gucci's like bougie of like the fashion
So it's
universe.
not really like a clothing line or anything. It's a metaverse collab. So I mean, the amount of money invested wouldn't be gigantic.
It's digital art, because it'd be a very, very small team then sort of doing that.
Yeah, if they're doing a whole clothing run, different perhaps. But if it's just like a metaverse project, you just throw 10 coders onto it or something.
I guess like how popular would like an
Bored
actual
Ape.
collab be? Like with Gucci, would people actually buy the jackets with like a big ape on the back or something?
Well, you got to think about the total addressable market, the TAM. Like Gucci, the people that are interested in Gucci, small percentage, right? People that are interested in Bored Ape,
even smaller.
And then you have to multiply the two together, and that makes it even smaller again.
That's true.
So it's just like, it's not going to be relevant to the audience, I don't think.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, what do you have then?
This is some hustling news.
Oh.
So you can bring up is actually a video. I've gone to the effort of actually finding a TikTok.
Oh, TikTok this time. Exciting.
In Victoria's gold country, prospectors have never stopped searching, and now one has hit the jackpot. A nugget, its value a staggering $240,000.
That's crazy.
2.6 kilos of gold in it.
Gold trader Darren Camp nearly fell off his chair when an amateur prospector
$250,000
brought him the
of
find
gold.
for valuation.
He said, do you think there's $10,000 worth in it? And as soon as it hit my hand, I looked at him and I said, try $100,000. He said, but that's only half the rock. He said, the other half's at home.
The man had been using an Equinox
Crazy.
800 metal detector in the...
So it's like a $1,200 metal detector, and
you watch metal detectors are going to go up in price.
Well, that's what I was reading.
Price, so, like people are going to be buying
I was reading
them.
the article, like whenever there's a big event like this, people just flood into like the region or just flood into the into gold mining immediately. Gold fever, yeah.
Well, there's like a gold rush fever. Like it's a thing. Like people obsess over gold because there's one of those things, right? Sorry, I know you're about to speak, but like when they had the dollar, they're always like putting it against the gold, right? Like gold was like the most stable sort of like currency.
Silver's good too because silver has more practical use cases.
Yes.
So like if you're going to hold something when this like all this bank crisis going on, or people are predicting the whole stock market's going to crash, they can hold both. Like this is not financial advice at all, but like holding silver might be a bit more in terms of like crazy end time, silver might be a bit more practical because it can actually be melted down and then used in products and things, whereas gold's like more of like it's not really used.
It's a good conduit.
But silver's more readily used. That's what my point is. You were saying something before that, but you cut me off, so I'll cut you off back. One of the guys that's like one of the main gold, they're called prospectors.
Love that term.
Said like it's the amount of people now that are trying to find gold prior to this event was like massive. You used to see like, because there's just a huge region. I think it's called like the Victorian Triangle. Like there's an ideal area.
I grew up not far from there.
Oh, really?
And like in Bendigo, that sounds very Aussie as well, but it was on the map because it was a gold mining town. Yeah.
Yep. So usually he sees like one car a week, and now he sees like 5 a day.
Far out.
Yeah, so it's one of the biggest findings since like the massive gold rush back when in earlier Australian times.
Well, because there's been like crazy weather, crazy rain, crazy storms. There's probably a lot that's been like unearthed potentially.
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't have found it if he didn't have that $1,200 metal detector, but they were saying that if it was even just like a fraction lower under the ground, it would never been picked up by the thing.
What?
Yeah.
That's
so like you can imagine how
lucky.
much is even like there's probably heaps still around, right? Like it's crazy, but that's a little bit of a hustle thing for $1,200 investment.
Yeah.
Hopefully this guy found it after not long of searching, because the guy he went and sold it to has been searching for like 40 years or something. Never
Far
found
out.
anything that big.
Could you imagine like someone just like does
First
it
day.
occasionally and finds out my first day found a big like gold thing. But there's a lot of stuff like undiscovered within Australia because there's heaps of stuff that's protected, like heritage protected and like culturally protected as well. So apparently there are a lot of like dinosaurs, like archaeological digs that people can do, but because it's all protected, there's a whole bunch of like, there could be heaps of stuff underneath the surface that we don't even know about. But it needs to
one
be
gigantic island.
continent.
What's an island?
Continent. Different.
Australia's an island too.
No, continent and islands are different, right? Isn't it?
Well,
Are they the
yeah,
same thing?
technically they're the same thing, but you can be both at the same time.
Okay.
You can be a female and a human at the same time.
Okay, if you want to get specific. All right.
Australia, island, or
continent. It's going to come up with continent.
We'll bring it up. Let's have a look.
Let's have a look.
Smarty, you're the geography whiz from Bendigo.
No, I'm not a geography whiz at all.
Australia is the largest landmass on the continent of Australia. Okay. Oceania is a region made up of thousands of islands throughout the central. It includes Australia, the smallest continent in terms of total. Why Australia is called a continent and not an island?
Oh.
Australia is known as an island continent.
Okay. So both.
Because it is the only continent that is also a country and is surrounded by water on all 4 sides. Technically, it's an island then, right?
So I guess islands are smaller, tend to be, but because Australia is a country and surrounded by water, it's considered both.
So an island is a mass of land that is both entirely surrounded by water and also smaller than a continent. But we already are a continent.
Yes. So technically can't be both, but are both.
If Australia was actually 2 countries, like a left and right version. Oh, man. So I guess you're right.
Yay!
Well done.
Doesn't happen very often.
Let's move on to the playlist segment of the week that you guys catched up on the weekend. This is not really a new finding by any means, or for us it's a new finding, but it's a podcast this week. So we've talked about a movie, we talked about a TV show, and now we're coming to our first, I guess, podcast recommendation.
And you actually put me onto this, and I have been listening to it for the last 2 days, and I am really enjoying it. It's fun, it's lighthearted, there's some really good like wisdom info and really good tidbits. The chemistry between like the hosts and stuff is really interesting. Like it's very engaging, very funny, very enjoying it.
All right. Do you want to give it a
drum roll?
Keep spruiking it, I guess.
Keep spruiking it. And it's like a bunch of actors that you would never think would all know each other, but do know each other.
Yeah. So I listened to a bunch. I mean, you trailed off there, so I'll give it a bit of a pep talk, up.
I haven't even revealed the name yet.
Oh, haven't you?
No.
So it's called Smartless. And it's a comedy podcast with actors. So I listen to a bunch of different podcasts, some science, some philosophy, some comedy, but there's very few that are run and done by actors.
Yes.
There was another one we looked at recently with Lex Luthor from Smallville. I don't know what his name is. He's not like the most well-known actor. But I came across this a couple of weeks ago and I'm super into it at the moment. It's called Smartless. as Sarah said, there's the hosts are really, really funny. So we have Jason Bateman, obviously been around forever, from Arrested Development. He's been in like Horrible Bosses with Jennifer Aniston.
Yes.
He does Ozark, which is
like a drama.
It's a really good drama.
For the OG fans, Teen Wolf 2, you know.
Is he in Teen Wolf 2?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He plays the cousin of Michael J. Fox.
They kind of look similar, actually. So Jason Bateman's on there. He's kind of the witty,
know-it-all, smarty
kind of
pants.
smarty pants guy. Smarty pants is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Then you have Sean Hayes, better known as Will from Will and Grace.
He's Jack from Will and Grace.
Oh, is he Jack from Will and Grace?
Yeah.
Oh, he's not
Just
the main
Jack.
guy.
Yeah, just Jack.
Okay.
Yeah. He's like the main side character.
In this podcast and the show.
Yeah.
He's the gay friend in the show, right?
Yeah.
He hangs out with the other crazy lady the whole time. What's her name?
Can't remember. She's the one that's married to Nick Offerman.
Right.
Yeah.
I never really watched it. I was too busy watching Home Improvement.
Oh.
Oh.
But yeah, he's famous for like he does a lot of Broadway and does a lot of like just like heaps of TV shows.
He does
stuff,
like a lot of voice work for animation.
Oh.
So he's kind of the fall guy, kind of the one that gets picked on a lot.
Yeah, he's like the. Yeah, I think getting the one picked on quite a bit. They make fun of him quite a bit. He's like the one that they both can like gang up on and just be like, nah.
He's just like the pushover guy in the group, which they kind of need because the dynamics work really well together. It's not to be nasty, but it's kind of how the dynamic works.
And they sort of reference him. He's like the geeky one kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, like the nerd.
And then followed up with Will Arnett, who's also from Arrested Development. He's more of the host, I think. He sort of carries the show, carries the conversations. Keeps it on track a bit more.
I would say yes, 100%. He does most of the talking. I think he's just like a really good talker and stuff. Like I still feel like Jason Bateman's like the creator, maybe, or like you still get the vibe that he's like the head dude.
Yeah.
But Will Arnett's just like the second guy that just does most of the talking and stuff. Yeah.
Cool. And he's obviously a comedian. He's really, really good at improv in general. But yeah, I guess the way you describe the show is it's these three guys talking to a new actor every week. And what's interesting about it is they don't know who the guest is going to be. So one of them lines up a guest in advance.
Yeah.
There's no video element. They must use like a StreamYard or Zoom or something to record their episodes because you can tell they're talking with a video element.
Yeah, because they say, oh, we see you on camera and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. So the guest is a mystery to two of the hosts each week. And what's interesting is like someone will rock up. Like I listened to Keanu Reeves was recently. I listened to, who did you listen to? Brendan Fraser.
I've just started listening to the John Favreau, which is really interesting. I didn't realize he was like pioneering a lot of like the sci-fi, the special effects.
He's a director and an actor, I believe.
Yeah, but he's like pioneered so many like special effects and like because of the MCU universe, like he's now the go-to special effects dude.
He's like very big in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like he's been around for a while. He's an actor. I think he directs a lot of that not directs Marvel stuff, but he's like heavily involved in a lot of
Mandalorian
film.
And stuff as well. Brendan Fraser was good.
So
Dana Carvey.
They get really high quality guests. And the best thing is they're all, like I was saying at the start of the episode, these are people that have been in their industry for 20, 30, 40 years working on their craft. They can just talk so effortlessly. They know everything about film. So they get a guest on. Any film is mentioned at any point, they all know the film, they all know the best lines, they know the story, the actors within that movie. It's just a really interesting podcast. If you like movies and you like sort of the comedy aspect, this is like a banging podcast to listen to.
No, it's so good. And I always forget because like the most recent thing I've seen Jason Bateman in is Ozarks, which is like heavily dramatic and like heavily serious. I forget like he's a comedian dude, like he's a comedy dude. Like that's where he's like got his chops and stuff. But yeah, just the dynamic between them is really fun. Like you said, I love how they don't know who the next guest is going to be, and they sort of line it up and they sort of give like a bit of a background history, and they all try to like guess and be like, I know who it is, kind of thing.
Yep.
And it's fun seeing some of them like fan out in a way, be like, oh, I love this person, I'm so excited, I'm so stoked, and then they like ask them like a bunch of questions and stuff.
So I think it's been around since about 2020. They must have started in the peak of COVID when I guess all the movie production was shut down and everything. But yeah, that's the recommendation for this week. I'd add it to the playlist for sure. Obviously, it's on Spotify, Apple. You can listen to it on YouTube as well, just like our podcast. Look, My Mum Hustling.
Yeah, and they're nice short episodes as well, so they're not too long.
They're all an hour.
No, they're all like half an hour long.
I don't know. The ones I listen to are about an hour.
Oh, really?
Some are about an hour, then like a 5 or 10 minute tag at the end.
Okay, gotcha. I thought they were all like half an hour because like it's fun. Really good episodes. Enjoying it.
Maybe listen to them on double speed.
Oh, yeah, I am. I'm listening on 1.2.
Are you?
Yeah, I didn't realize, but it just makes things go a lot quicker. And then I listen to it on normal speed and everything just sounds so much slower now.
All right, well, we'll be back next Monday on normal speed.
Normal speed. Bye, everybody.